అవసరం లేదు, అదే తీసేస్తాం.
ఫోటో పెట్టినా
పర్లేదు సార్.
సర్లే చెప్పుకుంటే వచ్చేస్తుంది. మీరు ఇక్కడ చాటింగ్ చూస్తున్నాను వెళ్ళలేదని అడుగుతూ ఉంటారు.
ఓకే ఓకే
రైట్
రైట్
మీరు మాట్లాడుకుంటే చెప్పుకుంటే
ఓకే. ఈ డోర్ వేసాము దగ్గరికి. ఉంటానంటే వెళ్ళిపోతాం. ఓకే, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ టు ఆల్. Today I am going to discuss the ECG. What is the ECG? And write briefly about the about waves, about different waves and intervals in an ECG. This is the one of the 4-mark question in IPE examination. Okay, first we can take them. What is the ECG? Electrocardiogram. ECG means electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram and is a non-invasive procedure. Is an non-invasive procedure. Non-invasive procedure for recording electrical changes. Recording electrical changes. Recording electrical changes in the heart by using an instrument. Called instrument called electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram. Electrocardiograph. So a normal electrocardiogram consists an electrocardiogram electrocardiogram consists waves and intervals and segments. So it is consists of waves. First one is waves and second one is intervals. Third one is a segment. First we can take the cardiogram diagram. This is the P wave and Q wave, R wave, S. So this is the P wave, R, Q, S, T and U. First here P or interval and here to here is QRS, and here from here to here ST segment, and from here to here is ST interval. Okay, then first we can take the P waves. In these waves in a normal record are named as waves in a normal record are named P, Q, R, S and T. P, Q, R, S and T in the order of cardiac cycle. In the order of cardiac cycle. In the order of cardiac cycle. First we can take the P wave. What is the P wave? P wave, it represents the atrial depolarization. It represents atrial depolarization. Atrial depolarization or atrial systole. What is the atrial depolarization? Depolarization means change of potential. So entire cardiac cycle is depending on the electrical potential changes. Changing of the electrical potential. Changing of electrical potential. Then next wave is QRS. QRX complex of waves. QRS complex of waves. So It represents ventricular depolarization. It represents ventricular depolarization. Ventricular depolarization or ventricular systole. Ventricular systole. Ventricular systole. And Q wave is a small negative wave. Q is wave is small. Q wave is a small negative wave. Negative wave. R wave is a tall positive wave. R wave is tall wave. R wave is tall. R wave is tall wave. Is a tall wave, and S wave is a negative wave. S wave is a negative wave. Negative wave. T wave is a positive wave. Positive wave. And it represents the ventricular depolarization. Ventricular depolarization. It represents ventricular depolarization. Next one is intervals. Intervals. So one is the PR interval. PR interval. What is the PR interval? It is the interval between the onset of P wave. It is the onset of P wave and the onset of Q wave. If its duration is 0.1 to 0.02 seconds. Next, QT interval. QT interval. What is the QT interval? It is interval between the onset of Q wave, end of T wave. It is the onset of Q wave and the end of the T wave, and it represents the ventricular depolarization. Ventricular depolarization. Ventricular depolarization and R interval. What is the R and R interval? It is signifies it signifies it signifies duration of cardiac cycle of cardiac cycle cardiac cycle and it lasts for about 0.8 seconds. It lasts about the 0.8 seconds. Okay, that is about a brief account of the waves and intervals in cardiac cycle. Next one is the explain different types of cancers. Second one is explain different types of cancers. This is another 4 marks question. 1. There are different types of cancers. One is carcinomas. These are the cancers of epithelial tissues. These are cancers of epithelial tissues or cells. These are the most common. These are the most common. These are most common as epithelial cells divide. As epithelial cells divide. Epithelial cells divide more often. And the second one is sarcomas. Second one is sarcomas. These are the cancers of connective tissue. These are the cancers of connective tissue. These are the cancers of connective tissue. And the third one is the leukemia. What is a leukemia? These are the cancers of bone marrow cells. These are the cancers of bone marrow cells. These are the cancers of bone marrow cells resulting in uncontrolled production of uncontrolled production of WBC, means white blood cells, a liquid tumor. Next, fourth one is lymphomas. What is a lymphomas? So lymphomas, these are the cancers of lymphatic system. These are these are the cancers of lymphatic system. Cancers of lymphatic system. Cancers of lymphatic system. And there are two types, another two types, familial cancers. Familial cancers. Familial cancers, these are cancers that occurs in families. These are the cancers that occur in families. Occurs in families. Genetic base. It is a genetic based cancers. These are the genetic based cancer. And the second one is of sporadic cancers. Sporadic cancers. Sporadic cancers. What are the what is this sporadic cancers? These are the non-hereditary. These are non-hereditary. Non-hereditary means which are not transferred from the one generation to the another generation, or from parents to offspring, or parent to the their children's. Okay, and cancers occurring without any family history. These cancers occur without any family history. Without any family history. That's all about the different types of cancers. Next one is explain brief structure of insulin. Third one. Explain brief structure of insulin. Brief structure of insulin. 1. Insulin is a hypoglycemic hormone. Insulin is a hypoglycemic hormone. Insulin is a hypoglycemic protein hormone secreted by beta cells of pancreas. Beta cells of pancreas. And human insulin is made up of human insulin is made up of 51 amino acids. 51 amino acids arranged in two polypeptide chains. Polypeptide chains. Two polypeptide chains, namely a chain with 21 amino acids. 21 amino acids. B chain with 30 amino acids. 30 amino acids. And both chains are linked together by linked together by disulfide bonds. Disulfide linkages. Disulfide linkages. Insulin is synthesized as an inactive prohormone. Insulin is synthesized as an inactive prohormone. Inactive prohormone which contains an extra stretch called C-peptide. C-peptide. This C-peptide is This C-peptide is not present in mature insulin. Is not present in mature insulin. Then we can draw the diagram. This is the one, and here two, here. This is the proinsulin. I will draw in another way. This is the another one, and now we can take the red color. Right. Okay. This is the proinsulin. In between these sulfide bonds, A peptide and B peptide. So removal of that C peptide during the maturation. So during maturation, C peptide is removed. Only A peptide and B peptide chains are present. Polypeptide chains are present. So that's all about the brief structure of insulin. And the next one is we can discuss a brief amount about avian bird flu. Next one is discuss in a brief about avian flu. Avian flu. Avian flu. What is the avian flu? Avian bird flu is a dangerous disease. This is the fourth one or third one? Oh, fourth one. Fourth one. So avian bird flu is dangerous disease. It is a dangerous disease affecting poultry birds and man. Affecting poultry birds and man. It is affecting the poultry birds and man. Causative organism. Causative. causative organism. What is the causative organism for the avian bird flu? It is caused by H5N1. H5N1, the avian bird flu virus. Avian bird flu virus. That is the causative organism. Mode of infection. Mode of infection. What is the mode of infection? Mode of infection, it is spread by contact. It spread by contact. It spread by the contact. Birds infected by this virus. Birds infected by this virus. Infected by this virus. It is a pandemic disease. It is the pandemic. This is a pandemic disease. Pandemic disease. Mode of infection. Mode of infection is completed, not mode of infection. Then birds infected by this virus to continue release of pandemic, continue release of virus, continue release of virus as their feces. Feces means fecal matter. Fecal matter. Or and also through by orally secretions. Orally secretions. Symptoms. What are the symptoms? In human, a typical symptoms are typical symptoms. Typical symptoms. Diarrhea. One is diarrhea and cough. Diarrhea, cough, difficulty in breathing, fever and headache, malaise, etc. All these are the symptoms. Symptoms are diarrhea, cough, difficulty in breathing, fever and headache, malaise. Prevention. Prevention, how we can prevent? Prevention of avian bird flu. Avoiding consumption of undercooked chicken meat. avoid avoid consumption of undercooked chicken meat. Poultry workers should use poultry workers should use poultry workers should use protective clothing protective clothing protective clothing and special breathing mask special breathing mask complete culling off culling or separation of culling means separation of infected flock by burying or burning them. So that is about the avian bird flu. Next one. List out various methods involved in MOET. Question number 5. List out various steps involved in MOET. What is the MOET? Multiple ovulation and embryo transfer. First, multiple ovulation and embryo transfer. That is the abbreviation of MOET. Steps. What are the first steps? A cow is administered. A cow is administered. A cow is administered with FSH and LH. FSH means follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone. LH, luteotrophic hormone. These are the two hormones secreted from the pituitary gland. secreted from pituitary gland, secreted from the pituitary gland. This includes follicular and superovulation. This includes follicular maturation. What is the follicular? Primary follicles, secondary follicles, tertiary follicles, or mature follicles. Graafian follicles are mature follicles. So these hormones are useful for the maturation of these follicles. And superovulation and superovulation. What is a superovulation? Production of more than two or more than one eggs per cycle. Ovulation. That is production of 6 to 8 eggs or cycles. And the next one is the cow is either mated with a elite bull. The cow mated with elite bull or artificially inseminated. Artificially inseminated. What is the artificial insemination? The semen is introduced into the genital tract of female. That process is called insemination. What is the insemination? Artificial insemination. The semen is introduced into the female genital tract. That process is called artificial insemination. And next, the embryos at the age of at 8-celled stage to 32 cell stages are recovered non-surgically or recovered non-surgically and transferred to surrogate mother. What is a surrogate mother? What is a surrogate mother? An animal that develops the offspring of another animal. The an animal that develops offspring of another offspring of another animal in its womb, in its in its womb or uterus is called surrogate mother, is called surrogate mother. This procedure is a kind of controlled breeding. This procedure is a kind of controlled breeding. Controlled breeding used to increase herd, to increase the herd size. Herd size means the animals number in short period, in a short period of time, in a short period of time, that is about the what is this? This is about the MOET. Next one is, you can take the another chapter in evolution. Evolution chapter. Distinguish between homologous and analogous organs. Distinguish between homologous and analogous organs. Homologous and analogous organs. This is one of the important question. Every time it is asked in a IP final exam in evolution. First, we can take the homologous organs. Homologous organs. Homologous organs, the organs which have similar structure, the organs which have similar structure and origin, but not same functions, but not necessarily the same function, are called homologous organs. Homologous organs. What are the homologous organs? Organs which have similar structure and origin, but not necessarily same function. These organs show adapt to radiation. These organs show adapt to radiation. Show adapt to radiation. What is the adapt to radiation or divergent evolution? Divergent evolution means the organisms are adapted from single habitat to different habitats. It is called divergent evolution or adapt to radiation. Example of the homologous organs: forelimbs of horse, and the second one is flippers of whale, wings of bat, paw of cat, and hands of man. How common pattern in arrangement of bones. Pattern in arrangement of bones. Arrangement of bones and functions vary. Functions or vary. Functions vary. To suit their mode of life, to suit their mode of life, to suit their mode of life, it explains that all vertebrates might have had common ancestor. It explains it explains that all it explains that all vertebrates might have had common ancestor. Suppose we can take the horse. Horse forelimb is useful for the running or walking. Flippers of whale useful for the swimming in the water. Wings of bat is useful for the flying. Paw of cat is also useful for the gripping. Hands of man is also useful for the gripping. Okay, so functions here: horse function is running, flippers swimming, wings flying, man for grip. So functions are the different functions, but structure and origin is the same. But structure and origin is same. So when the animals of the certain habitat, the animals of certain habitat enter into different habitats, enter into different habitats, they evolve, they evolve into different forms. Evolve into different forms, and it indicates, and it indicates and it indicates divergent evolution. Divergent evolution. Example: Darwin's finches in Darwin in's finches of Galapagos Islands. Galapagos Islands. That is about the homologous organs. Next one is analogous organs. Analogous organs. What is the analogous organs? The organs which have dissimilar structure. The organs which have dissimilar structure. Dissimilar structure and origin, but perform same function. But perform same function are called analogous, organs. Analogous organs suggest convergent evolution. Suggest convergent evolution. Convergent evolution. When different animals live in a same habitat, when different animals live in the same habitat, they tend to show similarity in body form. In body form. Similarity in a body form as both live in aquatic environment. As both live in aquatic environment. Aquatic environment. Examples: wings of butterfly and wings of bird. So that is the analogous organs. Okay, we can continue the next class.